but I spent 10 years living in Austria. So I was hunting, you mentioned it before, those German beers. In 2025, they are going to have a brewery over there that has been consistently, never stopped, consistently brewing beer for 1,000 years.
Holy shit.
Hi guys, welcome back to the Bull Talk with BJ podcast.
Guess what, motherfucker?
Some of the information you are about to hear, some may find disturbing.
I don't know who gave them this or who gave them the clearance.
On the crotch.
Oh my
Right
lord.
there.
Can we Google that?
Yeah, that's what I thought. And then I fucking stumbled down a dark hole and I love it.
Great keg parties. If I'm going to believe anybody's bullshit, I'm going to believe mine.
It sounds not politically correct, but
You two motherfuckers need Jesus.
What's up, boners? We are back. This is Bo
And drunk.
and slightly drunk and buzzed. Of course,
Yep.
with me is the man of on my left, literally on both sides of my left, Big Jim. He is back, Corona free.
I'm not corona free. I still feel that shit.
Oh, never
But
mind.
it's not stopping me from drinking beer right
Hell
now.
yes.
This gotta sound like alcoholic.
I think
Hi,
we
my
both
name
do.
is Jim and I'm an alcoholic.
Hi, my name is Bo, and I'm definitely not an alcoholic. I'm a diabetic. How you doing? Ha ha. Anyways, before we get started, we have a lot of things to cover. First and foremost, two big shout outs. Two big shout outs to one of our cousins, Gus. Actually, your first cousin, my second cousin.
Yeah, he's my Gus. Was out in Buffalo, New York.
Out in Buffalo, New York. He bought us some beers on buy us a beer. If you go to our Flow page, you can find that link there. It's Flow.page/BTWBJ.
Yeah, and just repeat what he did. I mean, $40 minimum's great.
And we also have to give a big shout out to another one of our family members, Maurice. Thank you, sir. He bought us some beers too. I will be
Yep.
tagging Mo in the description below. He has his Instagram. I will also be putting a big thank you onto Facebook because I know that Gus is on Facebook. So thank you to both of them.
Mhm.
We greatly appreciate it. In our next episode, we will definitely be buying some local beers from them. From them.
Not Gus and Maurice, but from Idleworks.
Yes,
And
exactly.
Gus, yeah. Correct yourself, fool.
Who the hell's yelling in the background?
Behind me's a wall, dude. I don't know. My neck can't turn any further. So
So yes, Beer Works, like you just mentioned. That is our guest today. If for those listening, I'm holding up the can of their 16-ounce pint can. This is of the Galactic Sour. We had on the head brewmaster, Grant Hamilton, and that guy is fucking cool, man.
he's funny.
He is
He
cool.
definitely is. He's an artisan and he loves his craft and he's definitely good at what he does.
Very
Double
much so.
IPA, double-licious IPA proves that every single time I have it.
Every time. And he's right. What the way he describes it is like you taste it in the back of your palate. When he said it, I had just taken a sip and it's making my mouth water. The tip of my tongue was sweet, but the back had the bitterness, and I was like, "Holy shit, this dude! Like, he fucking knows what he's talking about. He knows what he's doing." You know?
Hey, he's been drinking since he was 4. He's got he's got some experience.
Yeah. And listen, if anybody is in the Central Valley or in Lodi specifically, which is where his brewery is at, please go over there. Tell him Bo and Big Jim sent you, because I'm telling you right now, man, this beer is fucking good. It is so good.
Or they'll just kick you out.
Or they'll just. Hey, that was pretty cool though. How he said like the pubs back in Scotland were it's like the Denny's basically. And
No, yeah, I agree.
if you
Yeah.
start acting a fool, the fucking
Gonna call your dad.
Yeah, I want to call
Yeah,
your
no,
fucking dad.
I agree. I had a buddy of mine who used to
Out.
work for us, and this is just an experience he had. He was in Russia, and they don't have trucks out there. I mean, it's cold. It was wintertime, so he's all bundled up like a big old bear, and they're drinking. Now there they have these look like a wooden little slat that has holes in them because their beers are in a coned flute. So they put the beer in these flutes. So you can't just set it on the ground on the table. You have to put it in this stationary wooden stand. But story told me, he was like, yeah, Jim, I told the bartender, he's like, hey, what can I get to eat? He's like, the guy came out from the back. He's like, follow me. So he took him down to the market. Well, the market had livestock. The guy said, well, what do you want to eat? He's like, and this dude was a big dude. He's like, I would love a steak or a burger. Now, this is him telling me the story. So he's out there and he's drinking and, he's having a good time. He was out there for a couple of weeks and the guy was like, okay, well, we're going to do something with this goat. And it was a goat. So he's like, all right. Well, right in front of him, the dude grabs the goat, the butcher, slaughters the goat right in front of him. And those are the type of experiences that they have. It's like, that's that's awesome. I hate to say it, but I mean, you're out there requesting a burger and it can't get any fresher than the front street of your pub.
Right. No, exactly.
So yeah, no, I love talking to people from other
awesome.
countries because it just shows how industrialized we are.
And how much, yeah. Well, anyways, this conversation was really cool. We talked a lot about beer. So I hope you're ready for that. And it's honestly very interesting. Like the way that he was able to go, and explain
process.
The process, the tasting of it, the aroma, like when he said when you pour the beer and the bubbles pop, it releases the aroma. I never thought about that ever.
No, and he mentioned something about fruit. If you look at what the ingredients is on an IPA, sometimes they do add fruit, but there's no grapefruit in IPA.
Oh, pineapple. He said,
but pineapple.
He's pulling different hops.
Yeah, everything in the process of doing the breakdown and the chemical breakdown and the fermentation. Yeah, no, it's phenomenal. Gotta love beer to appreciate it.
Yeah.
No, I'm glad. I'm glad we reached out to him. It's definitely different than the folklore and the spooky stuff and all the beheading shit that we normally talk about. But
just wait till next week because I got a fucked up story to tell you. Yeah, it's not. Trust me when I say it. It is not by any stretch of the word pleasant. It's
all
just
right. Well, don't depress me. I'm having a good night. So let's finish these shout outs. First of all, I got to give my son Joaquin a shout out for buying me this awesome fucking cooler.
Oh yeah.
Now I have to give Maurice a shout out, Sicko1 on Instagram, who introduced him to this website. Assholes Live Forever. Yeah, I'm gonna be around for a while. So, Maurice, thank you. Thank you for the beer. Also, I didn't know Sergio bought us some beer a while ago. So thank you, brother, for buying this beer.
Yes.
And also, remember, these episodes can get stressful. So if you need an emotional support puppy, we have a dog by the name of Georgie.
I have to edit this out. Do you realize that?
Georgie will be there you give me a call and I'll send you a picture of Georgie. We live in a very troubling time right now, and emotional support is 100%.
I don't know how I'm supposed to blur this out.
You're not supposed to. Just leave it in. Because Georgie's such a cute puppy. Okay? Also, Gus, cousin Gus, I love you. I'm going to give the guy the information. He was good with it. He obviously is interested in what you can offer.
Yeah. We'll pass that out.
Who else did you need to shout out to?
That was it. That's everybody. That's everything. That's everyone. And I hope everybody who are beer connoisseurs, who enjoy beer, and people from a different culture, Scotland specifically, are into this episode. I'll be sure to be tagging his.
There is one thing. There is one thing that I've been noticing is that a lot of people are wanting to come on. You know what? We're willing to shout out anything you have, a product. If you have a car show to do, we'll plug it. We'll plug anything. Family members, if you guys want to come on the show, contact Jim. That's all you got to do. Friends,
Literally.
contact Jim. And here's the thing: the hardest part to do this is literally sitting in front of this freaking camera and talking. And once you break that ice, it's so easy. So don't be afraid. Come on. We want to hear your stories. We want to talk. We want to laugh. And that's what this show's about. So,
and that's what we're gonna have. One of our next guests is someone who I actually met on your nephew, my cousin's bachelor party, Gucci, DJ Yamaguchi. Actually, shout out DJ.
He's a DJ.
Yeah.
He's a DJ.
Dude. You haven't heard him on Twitch?
No.
I'll send you his.
I didn't know his name was Yamaguchi. I thought he was just.
That's why everybody calls him Gucci.
I thought because he wore Gucci shit,
Ah, Yamaguchi. He's half.
He told me I'm half Japanese, and when he told me that, I was really drunk at the wedding, so I kind of had to look at him and be like, "Nah, dude, you're a white boy. You're not Asian."
Well, listen. We will have some more interesting people coming on, hopefully. And if you want to come on, just talk some shit with us. I mean,
that's what this is about. It's just fun.
It's fun.
It's fun. So we're here. Actually, I got to give a shout out to somebody that I listened to over the weekend, and she's from TikTok, but she's a friend of someone in our podcast community.
Okay, I'm interested now. All right, interesting.
Cody.
Oh, Cody.
Over the fence.
Over the fence.
Over the fence. Yeah. I am gonna destroy this name because.
Is it a different name? Is it a foreign name?
No, it's not. I just have a buzz, so I can't remember shit anyway. Cody and Molly, it's your friend from TikTok. She was on the last episode. She's hilarious.
I actually haven't listened to it yet, but
she is hilarious. And give me a second because I'm slow to navigate because I can't focus on my phone. Give me 1 second. It's coming up. It's coming up.
Listen, Gus, thank you. We were not expecting such a big contribution like you did, but thank you. I know I'm repeating myself, but this is something that we enjoy doing. This is something that is fun. This is something that, it's something that I honestly, I would like to continue to do. If I can make a living out of it, that'd be fucking great, to be honest. That'd be cool.
Hey, I just bought a $20 camera. We better do it for a while.
That's the point, home dog.
All right. Well, her name is
this laptop for nothing.
Shani Rue from TikTok is a young lady I'm talking. She lives in the Bay Area. She's from the Bay Area as well. But I talked to her, and she's she's a Raiders fan.
Hey,
she's from the Bay. She's hilarious. So Shani Rue from TikTok, found her because of some podcast community friends, which is Over the Fence, Cody and Molly.
And
so
with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, this is episode 37. I can't believe we've done 30. We're coming up to a year in April, and your birthday. So your birthday's coming up in the next few days, dog.
Yep. Instead of buying me a beer, buy me some tacos.
So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, episode 37. This is Grant Hamilton of Idle Beer Works in Lodi, California. He is the beer master, the brew master. There he is right there. That can for everyone listening.
Cheers, Grant. Cheers, Grant. And hopefully he does start to distribute.
And here it is right here. Craft community culture. Thank you, Grant, for coming on. Hope you.
Thanks everybody with shout out. Everybody. Yeah. You guys make this endeavor, this venture that we're both going through fun, worth it. It's tough. It's tough. It's tough. You work full time. I don't. I sleep full time. So
Yeah, it is tough, but it is fun. So everyone, enjoy
Absolutely.
the episode. Cheers. Talk to you later.
Cheers. Later,
Talk
folks.
to you in a bit. Peace.
Peace.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Grant Hamilton. He is the owner and head brewer, or is it brewer or brewmaster?
Head brewer, whatever. We
He
don't
is-
go too much by titles, but brewmaster, I guess, would be the correct term.
This is the brewmaster of Idle Beer Works in Lodi, California. Sir, thank you for coming on, first of all. And second of all, some amazing beer, man. Seriously.
Yeah, pretty happy about it. Cheers.
Cheers, sir. So before I hit record, you said that you skateboard still. How long have you been skateboarding for?
Let me see. So this is going to date me in a seriously bad way, but my first skateboard had clay wheels.
Whoa.
Not kidding you. It had clay wheels. And I was living back in Scotland. I think I probably had the first skateboard in Scotland, or certainly one of them. And it was horrible. I got in so many accidents. I mean, you see all the cuts and braces, but and there's not a lot of blacktop in Scotland, by the way.
I was gonna say that's a lot of cobblestone, right?
Yeah, it was pretty funny. But yeah,
He mastered the ollie for sure.
Literally, I would say, oh my God, I was like 11 or 12, and I'm ancient. So that's how. Do you guys, have you ever heard of Kona Skate Park?
Kona?
It's like the mecca of skateboarding in Florida. I waited 30 years to skate there.
No, I don't
30
think
years, 30 years of opening up skateboard magazines and seeing Kona, living in Scotland. It was like mecca, and I finally made it there about 30 years later on.
No
So,
way.
with my son, who's an immense skateboarder.
Oh, so
Yeah.
so your son skateboards too?
Oh yeah.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
we have a skate park in the barn in Vermont upstairs, like a full-on skate park.
No way. Holy
I
shit.
kid you not. I can't make this shit up. I swear.
So you guys are legit boarders, man.
You know, if it's getting snowy and you can't skate, what are you gonna do? You're just gonna build the skate park on the barn.
That's awesome.
It's pretty cool. So,
So
how about
what's
the story?
I have a question. So this whole story, this whole podcast, just so you know, really is just it's kind of within the name itself. Big Jim being my father and me being his son. People call me Bo.
Right.
So that's just what I thought of. Bo talks with Big Jim, and then I thought even
Brilliant.
a little bit further, and I was like, well, what else can we talk about? Because him and I alone can just talk shit back and forth.
Right.
You know.
Regularly.
Yeah. And so I thought, well, what if I told him some crazy ass stories? And sure enough, one of the first ones we did was about this young girl named Olive Oatman who was captured by Yavapai Indians and then traded over to the Navajo. And this was way, way back in the day. And her family was massacred, and it was only her youngest sister, one of her younger sisters, I believe her name was Elizabeth, and then her surviving brother who was scalped, Lorenzo. And it was just a story that I found and blew his mind. Honestly, it blew my mind doing the whole research.
Right.
And so it started off with that, and then eventually it was like, well, who else can we talk to? And who's interested in the crazy shit that we're into? I mean, clearly we're into beer. So, I mean, the fact that we have a brewmaster on is dope, honestly.
Good.
And not only that, one from Scotland. So how long did you live in Scotland for before you came over to the US?
The first time I came to the US, I was 18, and I was only running away from a girlfriend who wanted to get married. That was back. That's the truth. I was like, yeah, okay, let me just go on this 2-week vacation. And
Yeah.
then it was over a year later, I returned home and she was already engaged to somebody else. So I got off the hook on it.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, thank you.
That's
But
fun.
I'm actually literally last week, I'm about to jump right back on the hook. I got engaged last week. So,
Wow,
Congratulations.
congratulations.
yeah.
Congratulations.
Angela is actually, I mean, I'm the good looks of Idol, but she's actually the brains. So, you know.
She's at the location because I've been there a couple of times to buy some
Yeah.
of the beer, and I was reading your bio. That used to be a tire shop.
Yeah.
How much work was there to convert that building to what it is now?
Well, it took us 16 months to get open. From the date we took possession of the building, it took us 16 months to get open. The first 3 months were cleaning. And I swear I was worried that, we weren't going to be able to bring it up to, a habitable space, but, a lot of elbow grease and good people behind me. And yeah, we worked at it day and night. And yeah, after a few months of cleaning, we got it out.
Well, you definitely worked in the hardest part of the year. Lodi is not known for being cool during the summer.
Well, you know what? We took, I want to say in July was when we first signed the lease on the building. So we had 2 summers just building and cleaning before we actually opened in September of the next year. So yeah.
That's crazy, man. And
Yeah,
then
it took a lot of time.
I was also
Sorry. How many tire stores have you been into that really clean?
None of them.
None.
None of them.
I was gonna say not a single one.
And not to name.
If you're gonna brew beer, it is honestly, it's all about one thing. You better be happy cleaning, because that's what the whole thing is about brewing. It's all about cleanliness.
Yeah.
And I honestly believe anybody could brew some kind of a beer. It may not be a great beer. Anybody could brew some kind of a beer if they first knew how to clean and sanitize. They're not the same. So
which is a big part of brewing is definitely the sanitizing.
It's 95% of what we do. It doesn't matter if I have the most amazing creation in the world, but if you want to go and drink Double-licious and it tastes like pond water, that's easily done if you don't clean. So
And how many times do you have to clean those big vats?
we strip down and clean every single time. Every single batch. No, just soup to nuts. Every single batch.
Holy
I actually had an assistant brewer working for me one time who was like, yeah, this cleaning fluid, it's a little frothy. And I'm like, well, why is that? And he's like, I don't know. I just topped it up and added a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And I'm like, no, that's not how we do it. trying to save us time and money. I'm like, no, strip it down. We're going to start right from the very beginning again, and we'll do it all the way through. But we've never had to pour a beer away. You always have consistency, which is number one for us.
Mhm.
We want you to always be able to find your perfect beer when you come in. And if you love the Galactic Sour Trooper or the Double-licious, it has to be the same every single time.
Mhm.
And so we really work incredibly hard about consistency, and a lot of that is cleanliness. So,
And that was going to be a couple of, because I have a couple of questions leading up to it, which I'll get to, but I kind of still want to know a little bit more about you, Grant. And
sure.
I read part of the bio that's on your website.
Yeah.
You had your first beer at 8, man.
That was my question.
I must have been screaming really hard. But I think, quite honestly, realistically, my first drinking beer was probably at 12, and that was in the rugby club. And that was when, it's pretty standard for kids to start drinking with their parents over in Scotland. It was a lot like that. They're not going to allow you to because the pub is somewhere where families meet. So if you're being an idiot, the barman's just going to cut you off and tell your father. So it's the perfect place to learn how to drink responsibly.
Right.
Because the barman's like, the hell with that. There you go. And I'm calling your father. And then you're like,
That's hilarious.
yeah, I am not joking. That is seriously how it is.
That's crazy.
It's
So it's fairly normal for like you just said.
It was. Nowadays, it's not like that.
No.
Nowadays, they make sure you're at least 14.
Barely got peach fuzz on your chin at 14, let alone your armpits. Well, hell, we can give you a beer.
Yeah. But what is the beer like out there? Because one thing that I've always heard is that beer in, like, let's say Germany, they drink it warm or something like that compared to, cool here in.
You mean cryogenically frozen in America?
There you go. Yeah.
It's true, but let me put it in perspective.
Okay.
It's cellar cold. In other words, it's not just room temperature. Room temperature in California is about 90 degrees in the summer, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It's not like that at all. You're talking about 3-foot stone walls in a basement. You're talking like 50 degrees. So it's cold, but it's not like it. It's cool cold, but it's not like frozen or we have coldest beer in town kind of thing. It's not like that. It's not like that at all. And honestly, in my humble opinion, you get more flavor out of the beer when you drink it in a room temperature glass. If you pour a nice chilled beer into a room temperature glass, you start getting those aromas out of it. And a great deal about tasting beer is your nasal passages. So when you start getting the bubbles releasing and the effervescence out of the beer, and you're smelling it as well as tasting it, the experience goes to 11,
Yeah. No, it's just interesting because I've probably a little before I was 21 too. I was drinking beer and I just drank it, to drink it. Excuse me. But then I started hearing people talk about how beer in certain parts of the world are drank differently. They're drank in different glasses, specific glasses for specific beers.
Jam jars, particularly.
Yeah.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with a mason jar.
Yeah.
For me, I love having a beer in a mason jar. I don't know why that is, but I can show you my cupboard. I have like 12 mason jars. And for me, it tastes so good. I think the neck is a little narrower, but the body's a little open, so it allows the beer to open up. And you can still get a good gulp.
And when you're drinking it, because like the one that he's drinking now, right? The sour.
Yeah.
Someone who's not a beer drinker or just hasn't drank a beer ever, what is the difference? Because like I'll have an IPA and my wife will just go, "Oh man, it tastes like a damn tire." But to me, it's like, no, man, that's the hops. That's the hops taste good to me. Would you be able to kind of just describe certain parts of the beers that you brew?
Yeah, so I will. Let me give you just like a backbone of where my philosophy comes from. So I think it's really important, and it will sort of lead into the style of my beers and why they are the way they are. But I spent 10 years living in Austria. So I was hunting, you mentioned it before, those German beers. In 2025, they are going to have a brewery over there that has been consistently, never stopped, consistently brewing beer for 1,000 years.
Holy shit.
Right. So these guys know what's going on. They've been doing it a little while.
A little bit.
So if you're if you're really into beer, I mean, ultimately between the monks and the way the Germans have been producing it for years and years, I mean, centuries, right?
Right.
You really are looking at the core of where beer evolved from, all right? Now, a lot of those principles and procedures that they use in the beer, and for the world, I don't know why it is this way, that they had the ingenuity and the technology way back 1,000 years to understand that if you handled, you know, certain products in certain ways and different temperatures would get different flavors. I mean, I guess they had a lot of time on their hands.
Yeah.
You know, monks and all, but all of that stuff, they really pinpointed a great deal of what we now know technically is like enzymes starting to work and flavor profiles at different temperature ranges and all this stuff. And they were doing that centuries ago, but without all the technical material that we have now, like at UC Davis and all these programs that are out there that have gone through and analyzed the death out of it. So their principles of brewing are amazing. The basic principles of how they brew their beer and the structure in which they brew their beer is really, really specific. Now you can brew a Bock, or you can brew a lager, or you can brew a Kolsch, or whatever the Germanic style is that you want. But those principles are there. They're always the skeleton, the backbone behind those beers, the way the grains are handled, the way the water is handled, you know, the techniques involved in that. So if you fast forward now to modern day, here we are. I mean, we have all these amazing grains out there, phenomenal hops. Just as, I mean, we're really living the dream right now as far as the resources are. We can get hops from New Zealand or South Africa or, you know, Northwest. I mean, everything's available to us.
Right.
And we don't have to adhere to some, you know, archaic law that they had back then. We can do whatever we pretty much damn well please, which is amazing. But if you don't have the foundation to build off, then you're kind of just floating around, and maybe you'll find something great, maybe you won't, and you don't really have any structure in the way you're brewing. So all of my beer is definitely structured off of those old time philosophies, techniques, and procedures, except I get to use modern day kick-ass ingredients and incorporate that. So I can make a beer with 5 different hops that you will swear blue in the face that there is pineapple in that beer, but there's not. There's none.
Wow.
And you'll call me a liar, like, oh, you're full of crap. You know, but the truth of the matter is that when you combine different flavor compounds together, you're going to create these different flavors that will come out. And those compounds are virtually embedded in hops. So modern day hops are amazing. And what you were talking about with these people that say, oh, I don't like those hoppy beers and stuff like that. That's saying I don't like white people. You know, there's a lot of people out there. There's hops out there. You know, in brewing, we're not racist. We'll take any hop and play with it. And the thing for us is that you can take those hops and create like the bittering side of it, which is important because remember, when you make a beer, the wort that comes out is super sweet. Well, what's a great way to offset sweetness? Bitterness.
Yeah.
So where those hops come from, but then you want those aromas and those flavors that are exploding on your palate. Those are completely different hops. those are, not as associated. What we call alpha acid is for more of the bittering hops. And then you have all these aromas and stuff, and they have generally very low alpha acids.
And
So
for someone to get the full
technology,
experience of the beer, like what should they be looking for? Or like how should they taste it or smell it or something like that?
one of the things I suggest for people if they want to explore beer is, drink outside the box. A lot of times I'll go into a supermarket. I mean, I own a brewery, but I'll go into a supermarket and I will go down a line of cans, and specifically the ugliest looking can that I can find does not appeal to me, I will generally go and buy a pack of it just to try it out, because we're so associated with marketing and all the rest of this stuff. So I would just say, try and keep an open mind. Don't ever go, I don't like IPAs. Because I got to tell you, I can put an IPA in front. How about Doublelicious? This is the smoothest 8.6% IPA out there. Has these gorgeous aromas. It's got that subtle bitterness to it that offsets the sweetness. I mean, it's a delicious beer. And you have no idea that you're drinking 8.6%.
Yeah. I was going to say that when I'm drinking this, there's no bitterness to it. I mean, there's obviously some, but not as much
You'll
as
get it in the back of your palate.
Yeah.
You taste it, it's all back here.
Yeah.
And in the forward part of your palate, you're getting those hops exploding, and that goes up into your nasal passages, which gives you this whole experience of an IPA. And I have to say, Doublelicious is an incredibly successful beer for us. Along with iDelicious, Doublelicious, those two beers, as far as our IPAs are concerned, are huge. No question.
I'm definitely a fan of the Doublelicious. That's the first thing that I bought when I was, because Jim lives in Lodi.
Yeah.
Jim lives in Lodi. He lives around the corner from you, and he recently bought a home there. That's how we got to know your store. And obviously you have your menu, and Doublelicious stood out to me like a neon sign, even though it was in marker.
Yeah.
I was like, I want that one.
Yeah.
Give me a 4-pack of them. Can I take a 4-pack? She's like, oh, you can have whatever you want to pay for. I was like, right on.
And normally we have a whole, pre-COVID, we would have had a whole variety of other IPAs. We have a whole nother set of IPAs up there called Image, Double Image, and Blurred Image. Well, Blurred Image. That's the killer, that one. But I mean, Image and Double Image, they are, not iDelicious and Doublelicious. They're totally different profiles. And some of those are big, hoppy, delicious, juicy beers and stuff there. I mean, they're all different. So it's like some people are going to love this and they may not like Double Image. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
What I'm saying is I would say to people, keep an open mind. Keep an open mind. Don't go into it going, I don't like IPAs. If you do that, I guarantee you're not going to like IPAs. If you can keep an open mind, and it's kind of like travel. You don't know what you're getting until you go there.
Mm-hmm.
But if you keep an open mind and you're traveling around the world, you can experience some incredible stuff. But if you just want to stay in your hotel room, well,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
I was going to ask
do that at home.
Yeah.
I was going to ask too, like what exactly got you started with doing beer? Like how come you didn't want to do like whiskey or, something else?
Who said that? What? Where did you hear that? Yeah, no. So beer has, and I'm really not kidding, but growing up in a rugby club, you kind of get exposed to, beer and that whole fun aspect of it really early on. That being said, for me, it wasn't just about like getting drunk or anything else like that. I really enjoyed the beer, but I enjoyed the beer also from more of an analytical standpoint as well. Like I wanted to know these flavors. How is that? That's like a maltiness flavor inside there. It's soft on your palate. I can drink few of them and not feel like I'm falling off the table. All that kind of excursion there. So I've always been, driven by that, I would say, into the whole brewing culture. And then when you travel, which I've done extensively, you get exposed to all these different cultures, different styles of beers, whether it's rice or whether they're using sorghums or different types of grains. I mean, like the Germanics or Czech, these Pilsners.
Yeah.
I mean, they all have these cultural influences that just are so incredible. You can be sitting someplace. I was in Croatia a couple of years ago, and they serve their beer with like a 4-inch head on top of the beer.
No.
And
Holy shit.
Yeah, you don't serve it that way, they're gonna look at you funny. That's the way they want it. And so that's the key, is to just accept what they're brewing, try and absorb yourself into it, know what their drive is to create different styles of beer. And I think if you do that, you're gonna find some amazing beer. You really will.
That's
and probably
awesome.
new friends too.
Oh, definitely new friends. I mean, there was one time.
Definitely new friends. Hell,
Yeah.
you might even try to speak Croatian.
So I actually brewed a beer in Croatia. I went across there and hooked up with a brewery that's in Split, Croatia. Great brewery. And what they're doing over there is really amazing stuff. They're really cutting the edge of craft beer. Where we were in the industry like 15 years ago, they are pushing hard against the big boys who are controlling, and there's a lot of political pressure out there to keep craft beer. And it's the same big companies that try to do it here in America. It's InBev, it's Heineken, it's Constellation. It's all of these big companies, the big conglomerates that own these national breweries that are trying to subdue the impact of the craft beer industry over there. But we're 15 years ahead.
Right.
So they know they can't stop us. They can't, we're here. You can't buy us all. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. We're here to stay. And every year we chip a little bit more away at, their bottom line and stuff. And community-wise, people are really getting into drinking local. They want to support their local community.
Well, especially now.
Yeah, especially now. And they really enjoy the sort of local flavor that they're getting out of these breweries that are offering them more than just incredibly fresh beer, but they're also offering them, an experience. It's much more. Right?
Yeah, it's more of like a family feel to me.
Oh yeah.
Especially when you meet the head brewer.
Yeah.
You can actually drink with the guy and have fun with him and talk shit.
Absolutely. You know how many times I have home brewers every week come up to me going, "Oh, I'm really, do you mind if I ask you a question?" Absolutely not. I'm more than happy to help you out.
Yeah.
Absolutely. This the brewing culture is not insular. We're all about outreach. We're all about trying to bring people in and making everybody comfortable with it. So it's definitely a different culture for sure.
That's, I mean, and
but it's beer.
Yeah, and beer brings everybody together. And like you just said, with going to Croatia, this was a few years ago. I met some people at a. It was really a pizzeria and a bar. You're killing me with those noises over there, Big Jim.
Oh, I had to get my second beer. Sorry, guys. You guys go ahead and talk. I'm drinking. You guys, I'm enjoying it. It's you know what? That's the best. That's probably the one thing that I cannot wait. When I visited your spot And I looked around, and you had your tables on the, around the wall, and the center, the center stools. I was like, man, I cannot wait to just come here during the summer. And obviously, you have food trucks that come through,
Yeah.
and he's walking distance, so I'm okay right there.
Literally.
So, so I said, I can't wait to do this. I can't wait to just sit there, and I don't have a set of keys on me, sir, but you can go ahead and just keep bringing them. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm sorry. I'm drinking while you guys talk.
We'll get you an Uber. Don't worry.
Yeah. But no, drinking together and just meeting new people is awesome. Like, for instance, like I said, a couple years ago, I was actually in Disneyland, and I met a guy from Australia. I mean, thick outback accent, thick. And I was like, man, I don't know what you're saying, dude, but we're about to be best friends. And we ended up drinking. But what kind of ties all this together is that we were drinking, but talking. That's the one thing that I miss more than anything right now. You can come up to any bar, to any stool, and meet any random person, and everyone has a story to tell or just has something to talk about.
Okay, I'm going to let you into a secret, but don't tell anybody. All right.
I don't know if I can keep that secret.
Right. At Idle, we actually do have Wi-Fi, even though we don't. We tell everybody we don't. But I guarantee you, if you come in there and you notice how our tables are really long.
Yes.
Yeah.
You ever that?
Yes.
You know where that comes from? That comes from the German beer halls. And you know why? Because it's too big for one group, but you can fit two smaller groups or one really, really big group or a couple in a group, but you all have to share tables. And that's the way it is in the German beer halls. You're always sitting next to people that you don't know. And you know how many times we have watched and heard that people have met friends and become good friends and all of that because they're sitting there and they're having a beer and somebody started up a conversation and away they go. That is the wonder of beer. But here's my challenge is I guarantee you if you come into the brewery and just take a second and have a look around and see how many people are on their iPhones or their tablets or whatever. And you will be amazed at how few people do that, right? And that's one of the reasons why we don't tell people we have Wi-Fi. You know,
I mean, it's a smart plan because
it's the cultural experience. It's all about it.
And that's what I enjoy.
That's exactly what I mean. That I can't wait to do that because when I went and bought the first 4-pack that I had, I parked right around the corner. And there's a little facility that's right across the street from your front door. And like you said, everybody was on their tablet. Everybody was sharing a story. Everybody was on their phone. Everybody doing this. Hey, check this out. You know what I mean? So you're absolutely right. There's no friendship's gone out the door when it comes to Wi-Fi. There's no connection.
We're definitely, you know, what's funny as well is I think we're starting to see how much like Facebook and these big, internet conglomerates are affecting us culturally.
Mm-hmm.
When we've seen that this last year. So it's not hard for us just to say, yeah, we don't have Wi-Fi. And if you really want to do it, sure, go ahead. We're not going to stop you. But having an environment where it's more conducive to people connecting, they grab at it. They love it. All the time you see it. So it's a big part of it.
It's a lot funner, and you definitely meet friends. And me personally, I enjoy shit like that. Yeah. If I can bullshit with you about anything, or a good example, the whole GameStop thing that's happening with the stocks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you can have a beer and share and be like, you believe these fucking crazy guys put 50 grand on this thing? Something like that, and you guys can just go back and forth with it. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think it's a big part of why the craft industry is actually becoming so successful. I mean, we've really cut our teeth over the I mean, the grandfathers like Sierra Nevada and Sam Adams and, all of those people that paved the way for us today.
Mhm.
But I really do see now that we're getting these micro and even nano breweries popping up to tend to your local community. And the community has responded really positively by coming together and enjoying and meeting at those places. And that's something that, Budweiser and Coors can't create.
Right.
What they've tried to do in the past is just buy everybody up.
Yeah.
That's like the kiss of death. Soon
Yeah.
as they're, yeah. I mean, I hate to say it, but look at Ballast Point. They sold out for what, $1 billion, and
To who?
they went over to Constellation, and a few years back, yeah,
Whoa.
yeah, $1 billion. It was the biggest sale in the craft beer industry. But now, when people see Ballast Point, they automatically have the stigma of, it's just another tentacle of the corporations that are trying to really not support the craft industry. They're trying to absorb it.
Right.
And so really the sort of our size nano breweries and those ones that are more regional where people can get fresh beer, we're thriving. We're thriving. We really are.
Yeah.
Even through last year, I mean, there's a lot of breweries that are probably sadly not going to be around because they were over leveraged just when they opened up. It's expensive to get a brewery open, and when you can't make those payments for a year, that's going to really suck. But for the rest of us, the ones who sort of built their businesses structurally sound, we're still going to be here for the communities and stuff like that. So,
And that was going to be my next question too, is all through last year of 2020 with this whole pandemic thing hitting, how not how big of a hit, but like how did that affect the business? Obviously, I would assume negatively, like 90% of the US.
yeah.
But how is it that you guys were able to come back from it?
Okay, so I'm going to put this in again. I'm going to segue out of this, and I promise I'll come back to
Okay.
your question. All right. So at Idle, we have our corporate statement or our mission profile or our mantra or whatever you want to call it, right? But we have what we call the 3 C's. So it's craft, and if you think of it, it's like a triangle.
Mm-hmm.
And the top of it is craft, and then community and culture. And that is our triangle. That's our core.
Right.
And we never say no to somebody or an entity that is going to promote a craft, a community aspect, or a cultural aspect. So we will, as a business, we will never say no. You need support? It may be big, it may be small. I mean, we did an event for Operation Restored Warrior for veterans.
Oh, wow.
In our very first year, we put on a music event, 22 bands. In one day, we did $18,000 in one day.
Holy
right?
shit.
Yeah. So year before last now, in total, the whole program raised almost $50,000 in one weekend. So that kind of outreach is serious. I mean, you're making an impact. When you're taking care of vets and doing all the rest of that stuff, it's a big deal. It's a
Right.
big, and as a business, we have to be responsible to our community. So we have craft fairs. We open up our stage to junior music bands and stuff like this. And we're always doing this outreach and helping people. And people come to us all the time. And like I say to you, I mean, last week we did a blood drive. Red
Oh,
Cross took over the entire brewery, right? because they're starving for big places that they can do it safely. And we have tons of power, open space, clean. It's a no-brainer, right? So we have all those things. But if you come to us with, whether it's Lodi House, or whatever your is, we're going to help you. We'll always say yes. Maybe big, it may be small. It depends on what we can do. But we will go out of our way to help you, so long as it promotes a craft, a cultural aspect, or a community aspect. And that's the question we ask.
Yeah.
Is this going to promote any one of the 3 C's? And if we say yes to it, and is it viable that we can do it, we go for it. That's it, all right? So we've been doing that for 3 years. In the first 3 months of us opening up as a brewery, from September to December, in those first 3 months, we raised $32,000 for charity in 3 months.
Wow.
We opened up.
That's
right?
crazy.
It's crazy, but I gotta tell you, this generates business for Idle. It's a no-brainer. It really is. I wish I could get this out to more people, but if you get involved in your community, it will generate income for you, and it becomes self-sustaining to the point where, it just is, you're just adding more and more and more outside of just your business model of selling beer. I mean, beer's great, but if I'm selling a 4-pack of cans for $20, and that's my only connection that I have with my community, how sad is that? That's ridiculous. So now, back on the segue, here we are in 2020, the pit of despair, and suddenly we don't have our business model where we can open up the tap room and do all of our distribution, and everything stops. Or does it? No, it doesn't. We open up a drive-through outside of the brewery, and lo and behold, that community which you have supported all along turns up in droves. And
Absolutely.
they through that drive-through, showing you the love that you gave them, and it all comes full circle. So that's what I'm saying is breweries are so much more than just selling beer. They've got to end up being more responsible and getting involved in their community. And for that, we have reaped the rewards. I've got to tell you, for us getting through last year, we didn't have to lay off people. We kept everybody working,
awesome.
and the community turned up and supported us. It's beautiful. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Yeah,
Yeah.
seriously.
Well, I'm just so thankful for the community in which we live in, because they're not people to sit around and watch you suffer. They step up as well.
And that's why I like living here, because even though it's not a huge community,
Right.
it's not Stockton, it's not San Francisco where you got thousands upon hundreds of thousands of people.
Sure.
You got enough people here that is a small community, kind of like how it was back in the day.
Right.
When there's a business that needs help, the people come and they help.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
I love it. That's one of the reasons why I chose to live here.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you 100%. And it's easy to see your impact upon your community. I mean, going back to Restored Warrior, it takes $2,000 to put a vet through that program, okay? And our money can be sent within our local area. So every day in the US, you have 21, 22 vets that are taking their life, right? It takes $2,000 to put a vet into this program, to strip them down, to rebuild them, and make them realize their worth, to stop them taking their own lives, right? In one weekend, and this is national, 21, 22 vets a day, okay? In one weekend, the Lodi community took care of one day nationally, right? You think about it, $48,000 that we raised, that took care of we took we stopped one day. That's it. We stopped one day from 21 vets taking their lives because we were able to generate that income, give that out to Operation Restored Warrior, and then they pull those vets in and help them out when they need it.
That's
So
awesome.
it is. It's awesome.
That's really awesome.
So if you think it's just beer, it's so much bigger. It's so much bigger.
And so I actually want to ask another question. This is going to be way off topic. This is going to be way off of what we were just talking about too. Well, kind of, but you said culture is one of the things that you go with, right?
Yeah.
Now, are there any beers, or do you try to incorporate any beers from Scotland, from your culture, into the that you have here?
Yeah, absolutely. We make a beer called the Brew. It's a Scottish Highland ale. And
in the barrel.
Yeah. Oh, we do barrel aged as
Yeah.
well. But the Brew is that Scottish Highland ale. I mean, I swear, you drink a pint of that and you think you're sitting in the Highlands. You can smell it, you can taste it. It's delicious. Yeah.
And one other thing that I heard too, specifically with Scotland, correct me if I'm wrong with the city, but Edinburgh is one of the most haunted towns or cities in Scotland.
It is. You should see the women. They're terrible. Oh, haunted. Sorry, I misunderstood.
Would you ever make a beer incorporating that hauntedness?
You know, I'm so open to all. I will say, so this is really bad, but I tend not to pay any attention to trends. Like I forcibly avoid getting involved with any trends and stuff. I think it's going to stifle my creativity as a brewer. So when I'm brewing or creating recipes, it's really important for me to have my whole clear focus and not be influenced by outside influences. You know, it's not where I'm at. But my culture is, of course, very strong. I mean, that's where I grew up. And so, yeah, I mean, that kind of stuff, I'm totally open to that because it has connection.
Yeah.
So, but there's a lot of other projects that I'm working on that I think you would be interested in as well.
Would you be able to tell us one?
No.
Secret. It's a secret, fucker. Find out later.
That's hilarious. Well, I remember when we spoke on the phone, though, there is something that you do want to try, correct me if I'm wrong, and hopefully I'm not letting out the cat out of the bag here.
Yeah.
But you do want to do like a YouTube page, correct?
Correct. Yeah. That's, you're not letting the cat, it is letting the cat out of the bag, but it's coming. It's taking the 3 C's, our craft, community, and culture, to a whole new level. Okay. And it's going to be involved with multimedia, YouTube, and taking it and exploring that whole aspect of it and trying to get that out there. I mean, I'm really serious. Like, if you have a business and you're listening to me right now and you want to know how it is that our craft, community, and culture has really enhanced our bottom line, get in touch. I will tell you, and believe me, you will benefit from the bottom line, you will benefit your community, and the amount of goodwill that you put out there is going to come back in droves. It's the most, so many times corporate bean counters are like, oh, you got to do this, you got to maximize this, you can't do that, and and all the rest of that stuff. This is exactly the opposite. We're saying get involved, get out there and do that. Well, the 3 C's is important for us. And so we also want to be able to take it further afield. And one of the ways that we're going to do that is actually with utilizing a sailboat. We're going to sail to different destinations and explore the cultural aspects there, different breweries, distilleries, and such like. And
That's badass.
yeah, it's a totally different perspective.
That
And
is.
it's a write-off. I'm not so sure.
And also just random thought, but speaking of haunted stuff, do you believe in ghosts or anything like that? I mean, come on, man. You're from Scotland. You have to.
Hey,
something.
I pulled it. I was like,
I-
folklore of Scotland. And there is so much going on in Scotland. I mean, the one that I'm stuck on right now that I want to know if you visited, it's called the Fingal's Cave.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Between Ireland and Scotland. Yeah. I will say, I'm a very analytical person. It takes a lot for me to I'm very scientific in my brain and all the rest of it. But there are definitely things that are out there that cannot be explained through science. And if that's the case, then I think we have to open our mind up to the fact that there is possibly other shit. And if it's going to happen, probably in Scotland, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And well, I just asked that because, like I mentioned earlier with the name of the podcast, some of the topics that we have touched on is ghosts and hauntings and so on and so forth. But mainly because him and I have had experiences in the past, and because I knew about, Scotland and the somewhat of the history behind it and how that's happened. That's why I was really curious.
So I'll give you a 2-second tiny little bit of story. Okay, when I lived back in Vermont, which I lived for quite a long time back there, my daughter was about 6 or 7 years old. And we lived on a farm in the middle of nowhere. But we had another house that was right next door. And that house belonged to a family from New York City. Well, they would come up every 6 months or so. It was their holiday home. But we'd very rarely ever see them, but they had some young kids. So my daughter used to play with their daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And so one time my daughter is, like I say, a little kid, and she's like, "Dad, can I go play with the neighbors?" And I look out the door and I'm like, "There's nobody there. They're not here.
Oh,
Holy shit.
They're not,
no way.
they're not here." And she's like, please, Dad, can I go play with the neighbors? And I'm like, "Olivia, there's nobody here. Look for yourself. There's no cars. I mean, you can see it right there, right?" Like, "But please, Daddy, can I get?" I'm like, "Okay, we're going to walk over there and we'll go see." So we get out and we put our boots on and we walk across the field to the neighbor's house. We get there and I'm like, lights are off. Nobody's there. Who comes driving up the road? The neighbors.
Shut up.
Yeah, I'm not kidding. So if you can explain that through science, I'm ready to listen. So there are powers out there that I think are hard to explain. Yeah.
there's a lot of things out there that's hard to explain.
That's true. That's very true.
Isn't that the wonder though? That's great. God, if we knew everything, it would be really boring, wouldn't
It
it?
would be. I would agree.
It'd be
too
shit.
boring.
It'd be
It
shit.
would be
man.
too boring.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, this your company, the beer, the culture. I'm really intrigued to see what you're going to be coming out with, man. I really am.
So you actually have more of a beer in process. I think you have like 10 beers that you have on your website, but you actually are able to
And we
make
have
more
a lot.
once. Oh, okay.
We have a lot more. We just released our honey pilsner that we put out there, and pretty soon we're about to release a second pilsner that's going to come out. That's super fun. I'm really excited. about that beer coming out. It's been something I've been working on for quite a while.
I was gonna ask too, but
Stay tuned for that one.
stay tuned.
Oh, we'll purchase it.
Yeah.
The Pilsner I love. I mean, I brewed it very traditionally, so it's about a 3 months in fermentation. It takes a long time. You can do them fast. That's what I'm saying. You can brew these beers fast and stuff, but I don't believe you get the complexity in the beer and the flavors and the profiles that you get if you just will follow some basic structural rules that they've been doing, for just a few thousand years, 100 years.
Hang on, I got a question to ask.
Go
Okay,
ahead.
do you sell your, and I didn't have it, I've only been to besides a couple of times of helping him move and working on his house. I didn't notice if you did sell any of your brews outside your facility, at the store. You got a liquor store right across the street.
Yeah.
So do you sell anything retail?
That would have happened as of March of last year. We had canning and all the rest of that stuff. But no, so if you want to try our beers, you can go to other tap rooms and stuff like that, distribution, and buy fresh beer from those places. But not in like cans in the supermarket right yet. Not right now. Can get cans to go at the brewery. You can do that.
Oh no, he's gonna bring some down tomorrow. He's coming to the Bay Area tomorrow, so I already got my order.
There you go. Yeah, and you know what? We have. I mean, it's not just one or two people that come out from the Bay Area. We have this one couple. I mean, they load up. Their bill's like $400+ full of cans to take back to the Bay Area for all their friends and stuff. So they do
Holy
beer.
shit.
Yeah.
But you know what? I mean, that does sound expensive, but hearing him talk and his philosophies, there's no difference in going to get a nice loaf of bread, some cheese, and a bottle of wine.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
That culture and that atmosphere is there. Now, we might be a little more blue collarish, but it's the same fun. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Beer is a working man's drink. Let's get that out there.
Keep talking. Just give me 1 second.
You don't have to put your pinky out. All right? No judging. No pinkies here. All right. So, but the ingredients that we use in our beer. I mean, we're buying ingredients from the Czech Republic, from Germany, from Belgium, from Canada, from England, and all the rest of this stuff. So we're not like just shipping truckloads or train loads of it down from Canada or from the Midwest to make one beer. We're pulling in all these different grains and yeasts and other products and hops, from all over the world to give you that experience. That doesn't come, it's not cheap.
Yeah.
But if you were to sell out and just use really generic, basic products, we wouldn't have a craft beer industry.
Yeah, you kind of lose the philosophy of it.
Yeah.
I mean, by you describing, you're getting bottom of the barrel stuff. I mean, there's malt liquor for that. And I hate to use that as a term, but an example. But you can go buy a $2 bit tall can compared to something this is way more, and it's not any more expensive.
No,
it's delicious.
Yeah, no, it's actually cheaper in the cans than those are pint cans.
Yeah.
You can buy of those. Technically, it's cheaper than if you're actually drinking a pint at the brewery. But most people, I have never heard somebody complain about the prices of craft beer in general. I think
you can't really do that. You can't complain if you like beer. And I was just thinking about a food reference. If you're going to go have a beer like this at a facility like yours, or who distributes a tap house that has food, that's kind of the purpose of it. That's the ambiance of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, this is that.
It's creativity. That's what it is. It's craft and creativity coming together. And it's like I was saying in the very beginning, it's like that experience. It's getting you to feel different things, try different beers. and all the rest of that you're not going to necessarily find elsewhere. So yeah, and it's not really a price wise. Like I say, people don't complain. It's not.
No, I
not
don't see. Now, you mentioned you had a son and a daughter. Are they involved
Yeah.
in the action? Oh, are they?
No.
Oh, no?
My son has brewed a couple of batches with me, but no, he's on his own direction right now. He just turned 21, so he's only.
Oh.
He never drank before 21. No.
No, not at all. Not at all.
That's not in your culture, right?
No. I waited till he was at least 22 months old.
There you go.
Now, do you still have the other facility? And I think it's Woodland, correct?
Woodbridge. No.
Woodbridge.
So that was so fun. We had the tap room. I mean, when we opened up Flight Lounge, that was the name of the company. When we opened that up, I mean, that was in the middle of the wine area. I mean, and here we are pushing craft beer from all over the world and showing people that. And so we were really kind of, it was an unknown. We didn't know whether people were going to embrace it or not. Oh my God, did they ever? And that was really the catalyst to push me to go to the next step and open the brewery instead of just doing homebrew. So
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I mean, and you've seen it, the embrace, the way that the community has embraced. I mean, I don't know how many winemakers we have that are sitting in idle drinking beer, but it's a lot. It takes, what do they say? It takes some excellent beer to make some nice wine.
That's a good one.
It takes some excellent beer to do a lot. Hell, you can move the world if you need to, if you drink enough.
No, I mean, the fun thing is, I mean, we have lots of friends that are winemakers, but for them, the process, we're all making alcohol as such for consumption, but their process is so different than ours. So they're super intrigued by how we do it. And I'm kind of intrigued by their techniques and such like. So it's always fun to sit down with the winemakers, and we have a couple of distillers as well that come and drink at idle,
It's awesome.
Oh, here's a crazy question. You ever see the two integrating? I mean, that's kind of what I thought a cider was. I thought a cider was more of a wine beer combination.
Cider is, well, the cider, although it's really an ancient product, cider as being ancient mead and such like, it's an ancient product. It's on the same license as winemaking. But for me, I could definitely see distillation in my future. There's no question. Not that I would ever be doing any of that right now.
Nothing.
None?
No, I mean,
not a good idea.
If I have a year sitting around while a pandemic's, I'm just sitting here twiddling thumbs. I would never be doing anything like that. No. Highly illegal.
Well, listen, man. Listen, I honestly, I would love to have you back on, and I would love to do this face to face. That'd be awesome.
Maybe next time we do it on the boat.
Oh, that'd be great.
Wait, what boat? You have a boat?
Yeah.
Where?
This sailboat, man.
We have a sailboat which is getting fitted out right now for the 3 Cs. Yeah.
Okay, but you're not going to put the sailboat in the water, right? We're going to put dry dock it, leave it on Lodi asphalt. I'll be there.
No.
Oh, I'm not a water person at all.
Big Jim, we got to have you there, man.
If I can't see the bottom of the water, I'm not going in it.
Culture. Come on,
you better give me a lot of double-licious and hope that I could, fly by the end of the night. But yeah, I'm not a big water person.
You'll float.
Maybe we'll bring along some either some ballistic leprechaun.
Holy shit! Hold on, that leprechaun. I had that one. That's the 12.6 or something, right?
12.3.
Yeah, I bought them that just before they went on a vacation.
Yeah,
I-
that
I-
would make a man not afraid of water.
A man not afraid of flying. I was fucking on cloud 12 with that one.
That's why we put it in those little glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I-
6
Yeah.
ounce.
I had a
pours.
whole pint of it, man. That thing was.
Oh shit!
Yeah, he called me at the airport. He's like, Dad, I only needed one. Thank you, but I only needed one.
There you go.
Well, listen, Grant. Thank you so much, man. This was awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been great chatting with you guys. And
No,
I
this
love
was fun.
you
This
guys
was
are,
awesome.
drawing attention to some of the stuff that's going on around in our community, especially at this time. It's so important.
Yeah.
Well, I know I'm not trying to, I have a cousin who sells stainless steel pumps and fitting. He actually does distribute. He's in West Seneca, Buffalo, New York.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And he's like, he's actually my god brother. We got baptized at the same time. He's like, are you gonna have a brewer on there? I said, well, that's what Jim said. He's like, can you please give him my number? I can underbid any of his contractors. And that's what he does. I was like, all right, his name's Gus. I said, all right, Gus, I'll definitely mention it. I'll pass on the email, and and he does. He handles the breweries out in Buffalo. So he's trying to get on the West Coast. So I'm like, yeah, cousin, no problem. I'll give him the email. I'll forward it to him after the show. I got you. So
I heard the second biggest industry in Buffalo outside of beer is shoveling of snow.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm
The
good
two
with
go hand in hand. They go out
You and
there and shovel for a minute and they go, fuck this, give me a beer.
or they line a beer up every 3 feet, so they know they have to accomplish 3 feet of shoveling shit out of the way.
Dude, they get like overnight, they get like 6 feet of snow. That
Yeah.
place is crazy. Like
Yeah.
you clear your driveway, your car, and you're like, oh, thank God. And the next day, 6 feet gone,
Yeah.
No, insane.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. I got a brother who lives in Nevada, and he posted some pictures, and he's out there with this snowplow. Mind you, we're Mexican. Mexicans don't belong in the snow. We don't. I mean, it's tough enough to be. We're used to the heat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he loves it out there, though. Oh, they both do. So
Yeah, this last rainstorm went up there and it just turned everything to snow, and it was thick. He said in 2 days it was the most he's seen in the last 6 years.
Yeah, oh yeah. I believe it.
Yeah.
So,
So Grant, again, thank you very much, man.
so welcome.
For everybody who is listening, where else can they find you other than your own brewery? Can they find you on social media? Can they find you on a website?
Yeah, the Instagram, the Facebook, all the rest of that stuff. That's where a lot of our events that would normally have happened last year, hopefully going to happen again this year, are going to get posted. Beer releases and such like.
now, do you do any outside activities? I know, like, say, there's a facility that I like to buy beer from down here in the Bay, and they do a lot of farmers markets. Have you thought
yeah.
about doing something like that? Yeah.
Yeah, we've done things like that and stuff. I mean, under normal circumstances, all of that stuff's going on. So
Yeah.
No, right on. Well, like I said, I've purchased your beer and I will continue to do so. I just wish
Likewise.
that we can go out there more. I mean, his brother, myself, and his mom, we are just getting over the COVID. So we caught it. The household has been infected, but I tell you what, it feels good to be able to
Yeah.
enjoy a beer.
yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Grant. Thank you so much.
You got
So hopefully we run into you one night. Hopefully we run
All right.
into you one
I
night.
think
So
we will.
You got it. Cheers,
Have a good
guys.
great,
I'm
thank you.
gonna fill this one back up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I got 2 more in the fridge, so I
This
think
is
I'm
the
gonna finish
sour.
those tonight too. The sour's good. Oh, by the way, I had the sour. I don't know if you want to hear this, but I had the Galactic Sour and the Double-licious, and I have to say the aftertaste of both together is kind of like a church wafer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know if that's a blessing or a curse, however you want to take it.
I'll take it.
Okay, definitely.
It's gonna be the big new thing.
Hey, there you go, church wafer. There you go.
All right,
Cheers,
guys.
Grant. Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
All right,
everybody.
stay safe, guys.
You too.
Thanks.